Hello, everyone. I want to go ahead and discuss with you your final project or your final drawing assignment for week 4. Um, for my intermediate and advanced drawing students, these are some examples of self-portraits that I want to share with you done by former students from not that long ago. And they might, in fact, help with regard to your thinking of how to do something with a relatively conventional um, genre, which is the self-portrait. So in this particular case, and these are all executed in black and white acrylic, which might make some things easier for you to see how they're translated to that medium. I know there were a few questions about that. And my video demonstration, of course, from a few weeks ago is just one example of how to do that. Um, there is overlap, obviously, with these students' work in terms of their methodology um, because of their interest in um, demonstrating what we discussed in class as it applies to finding patterns of light and dark. So here you see a self-portrait done by this particular student using 2 mirrors. And these are just small mirrors that, um, aren't heavy or aren't expensive. I believe they were purchased at the hardware store for maybe $1. Um, but setting those up across from each other. So, you're able to see, for instance, the reflection of this student from the point of view of the mirror that the person is in fact looking at. So it's like a double self-portrait in essence. I think it's a very successful drawing, and clearly, an understanding of the form of one's head by virtue of trying to find all these wonderful differences and patterns of light and dark that describe the volume of the head. And I emphasize the term volume because, there's a lot of confusion a lot of the time when doing a self-portrait. There's this thought of just trying to get a kind of likeness by virtue of drawing a face. So these examples that I have for you are very clear in the understanding of trying to get at the volume of the head or the volume of a figure, for instance. So here is another one by this same student. And what is also helpful too, in addition to this person being relatively clever in setting up 2 mirrors and giving us 2 drawings with several different points of view, there's also an artificial light source that clearly shows a light and dark situation, which gives credence to the whole idea of creating a volume. So with an artificial light source or natural light source, it's up to you. You can see, for instance, how big planar understanding differences of light and dark exist. So I would invite people to give this a shot. You're not, required to do this particular approach, but I certainly found it to be one that was compelling and creative. This last example is a full length, obviously a full figure self-portrait, which goes right to the heart of, a figure drawing, but the figure being the person doing a full self-portrait. So you can see also a nice quality of a silhouetted figure. So the light source is behind the figure. So there's a kind of drama and a clarity to seeing the proportion as it's delineated from the big difference between dark and light. Also, I think with all 3 of these examples, you're also showing the viewer how you made this thing. It's not some sort of, uh, you know, magic trick that one cannot sort of explain. And you can see, for instance, the mirror, the easel, in this case, and in the last, it was the same. So you're seeing the tools in which